Rick Wilson.
Hello, Molly. How are you on this fine day?
I'm good. So Donald Trump has gotten us into a war, which
Yeah, it seems to be.
which, yeah. I mean, does it when you start shooting down planes, that's when you have ground troops. Once you have, right? I
That's
mean, is
right.
that a fair definition? And
There.
explain to us what's going on now.
So look, the inevitable has now happened, and the Iranians have shot down an American F-15E Strike Eagle, two crew members in the plane. Very effective, very good strike bomber aircraft, but they shot it down with a relatively cheap heat-seeking missile from the ground. One of the crew has been recovered. The other is still missing. If the Iranians capture that person, they're about to have a global spectacle. They also managed to shoot down an A-10 Warthog yesterday, damage an F-35, which is supposedly impossible, shoot down a HH-60 helicopter, we don't have a ton of those, and 2 drones. So we have now entered the phase of the war where it's not all one-sided, and eventually you're gonna have put more they've put a lot of search and rescue operations into Iran now. That's aerial and probably folks on the ground as well in terms of, PJs, pararescue jumpers,
Right. You
and
have to
probably
at that point.
yeah,
Right.
and special operators to go and try to recover the other missing crew member. This will accelerate. These things always do. And so what's going to happen is somebody who's been in there to sent in there to retrieve the missing crew member from the F-15 is going to get shot or captured or in a
Right.
firefight. It just escalates. And the problem is right now we see a line of C-17 cargo planes flying from the US into the Middle East. We're ratcheting up and up and up. The the fake semi taco 20-minute speech on Thursday night did not make the markets feel better.
No, in
And
fact,
what
it
the
made the markets feel worse. It was a real
that's right.
Pam Bondi Dow at 50,000 moment.
I think Molly, and I'd love to get your thoughts on this, is like, have we reached the point where the taco trick only works if he actually tacos?
Right.
And he hasn't. He's still going all in on this war, and I don't think that the markets are gonna recover until or unless they see him, the world's greatest negotiator,
Right.
negotiate his way out of this box.
Well, I think the problem is when you have the straits closed ostensibly
Yeah,
for American oil, which by the way, there wasn't so much American oil going through there anyway.
right.
So it just created a sort of situation with the fungible oil and gas where there was less. While that's closed, there's not anything Trump can do to increase the global supply of oil, which
No,
is what we just saw, right? And he took
correct.
off sanctions on this Iranian oil, the Russian oil, which, by the way, diplomatically quite suspect, but also
Oh,
will not
yeah,
necessarily make oil cheaper. I mean, the thing is, we're
correct.
cruising into summer, which is oil and gas time, right? It's time for
You bet.
travel, it's time for airplanes, it's time for, and
High
we
energy bills for or high energy use
energy
for
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 air
air
conditioning because
conditioning.
of global warming. Yeah. And so we're going to have this very hot summer. We're going to have very expensive gas and oil. And, I don't think that Trump, just to think about like this in the historical reference for a minute. So this was what completely crashed Bush won, right? Doesn't matter
Yep.
what you do. If you make oil and gas more expensive, the American people, that's it. Like, it's just,
You are gonna
you're
get
going to get
punished. Look,
right.
uh,
Go.
Jimmy Carter was in a period where expensive oil and gas coming out of Ford going into Carter, we had expensive
Right.
oil and gas. Horrible for your numbers. George W. Bush in the
And
second term, expensive oil and gas, horrible for your numbers. Even Barack Obama took some damage from it for a little while
right.
when we had a spike. But with Trump, this was a decision that was made precipitously with nothing in the background
Right.
to support it, and so now people are, like, directly connecting high price at the pump, Donald Trump's war on Iran. That's it. It's bound together, and look, his numbers, and we're seeing even more numbers over the weekend that have come out, especially on
Oh,
the
yeah,
price
the
of gas.
polls are
He is
unfucking believable.
61% disapprove of his
Yeah.
performance and when
Yeah.
it comes to the price of energy and gas. 61% disapproval, and that's 45% strong disapproval. That is a
Right.
real five-alarm political fire for this for the Republican Party and for Donald Trump.
Yeah, and I mean, there are 2 things too that there are no historical precedent for. To have a president who runs on affordability, "I'm gonna make gas cheaper, I'm gonna make eggs cheaper, I'm gonna make
Right.
bacon cheaper," right? That was his message going into this, and also, "I'm going to end foreign wars." And then what does he do? Tariffs,
Right.
which make things more expensive, foreign war, which makes oil more expensive. Like, just to have someone who immediately does exactly the opposite of what they say they're
Correct.
gonna do, I mean, like, I'm not sure there's a precedent for that historically.
No, look, we have not seen a president look, I'll tell you, like, presidents have, very frequently big externalities that hurt them, okay?
Right,
And look, while the war was unpopular, what really knocked Bush's numbers out of the box was Katrina, okay?
right,
What the largest percentage decline was at the post-Katrina. When you
right,
had the financial crisis, even though Barack Obama didn't directly cause it or wasn't there when it started, he was suffering through the worst of the financial crisis, a big externality, and it hurt his numbers. And that is in
right.
part what led to the political climate for the Tea
The Tea
Party in
Party.
2010.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
all these, every president faces some external thing. And
Usually, they don't cause it.
Right, and but the difference here between, every other president and Trump is he's like, "What can I do that's gonna absolutely completely train wreck my economy, and what can I do that's gonna blow up my allies around the world, and what can I do that's gonna harm the global economy, and, oh, by the way, what can I do to pretend that the global petro market isn't a global market?" The reason gas is going up here, folks, is not because we buy gas from
Because
Iran.
we
The
don't.
reason is it's a global market.
Right,
And you can't just hand wave away the fact that it's a global market. I heard yesterday that there's a some discussions inside of the White House now of trying to, if you just want to watch if you really want to watch the economic system meltdown, to impose new price controls on oil and gas in America,
right, right,
which I
right.
was
Oh,
told
it
was
was
communism.
communism. Yeah, I was gonna say. I was, like, excited to watch that play out. No,
I was
look,
told if Kamala Harris was
uh,
elected, we'd have full
right.
communism, and we were
But I
right.
and we're right. But I do think, like, what you see now is you see a Donald Trump who sees bad poll numbers and is like, "Fuck
Oh
it,
yeah,
I'm just gonna start firing people," which is probably good for American democracy. Here, follow my thinking here.
I'm
So,
following.
Trump 2.0, the first year, you saw nothing out of that White House. It
No,
was not leaky, it was so tight. Mike Walls accidentally, as the editor in chief of the Economist, of the Atlantic, to a group chat and does not get fired. He gets moved to a sort of slightly different job, right? And we
yeah,
saw really, it was just tight and Trump was getting away with it and people were making mistakes, but we weren't hearing sort of what really happened. Now, at this second year, Trump has just given up. He's firing people, he's moving them around. So we're seeing like a Pam Bondi. Now, that story, there must be like 15 people leaking with that story because we found
oh,
out when they drove in the Beast to the Supreme Court, we found out that she sat with him and then he moved, that he was there for an hour and a half. I mean, just like literally every bit, that she had been begging to stay on till the summer.
like a
Like,
dog.
right. Like I mean, there was so much reporting. I mean, he probably was leaking. She was definitely leaking. And everyone she ever met was also leaking. And that kind of transparency is actually probably much better for American democracy.
Molly, you have had the first year of Trump 2.0, a desire to not Trump didn't want to give the media a
Mhm.
win by firing anybody because he
Right.
viewed firing people as letting the media win.
Yep.
And yet, this is absolutely driven by the fact that the media was merciless about Pam Bondi's cover up of the Epstein files.
Right.
They
But
they
also
kept
but the
calling her
MAGA
bullshit.
mean too. But the
That's
MAGA media too.
actually,
Yeah.
you are 100% correct. I was just getting there. You got ahead of me.
Sorry, sorry, sorry.
100% correct. No, 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 no. No, but the horrific nature of her cover up of Epstein
Right,
was so bad that even Fox couldn't ignore it. Even
right,
OAN and Newsmax and all the MAGA online garbage couldn't ignore it. And so we may have a moment right now where the vulnerability of Trump's mental processes, he knows how bad Epstein is for him. and I
right.
think they made a giant mistake. Todd Blanche rolled out on Friday and said, "We've released all the Epstein files. It's over. It's done. Fuck you. Shut up."
Yeah, yeah. Good
And
luck
let me
with
tell you
that.
something. That ain't
Yeah.
gonna roll.
Um,
I was texting with a member of the committee, a Democratic member of the committee last night.
uh,
I said, "You gonna take this laying down?" He goes, "Oh
uh.
no, my friend, we are not."
Yeah. But it's also, I mean, she also, remember, she ran afoul of MAGA influencers who are Donald Trump's
Absolutely.
core constituency. She gave them those binders with the
Huge mistake.
Xeroxes of stuff you can find on the internet, and they were
Right,
so embarrassed. They posed for photos, then they went home, they looked in the binders, and they were like, what the actual fuck? And then those
right.
people committed the next 7 months to getting her fired. And like, it's a cautionary tale for not being a complete moron.
Well, listen, she also didn't understand. I wrote a piece about this called "Knives Out for Bondi" yesterday. Blanche was going to do this to her no matter what. Blanche is
Mhm.
the guy who's much smarter than Pam Bondi, and I will tell people
Right.
Pam is Pam is not dumb, like, she's not a moron, but she's also
She's
not a
not Christine
genius.
Nome. Right.
Yeah, right, she's not Kristi Noem, but neither is she, some sort of mad, high-level strategic thinker. She's very
Right.
obedient, she's very good at being at being the good girl, the good guy
Right.
for the big boss. She was in
Right.
Florida, she was basically like, "What does Jeb want? What does Rick Scott want?"
Right.
When it's Trump, it's what does Trump want? So but Blanche viewed her as a way to, like, take some of the air out of the Epstein balloon so he could step in,
Mhm.
and I had heard from, somebody very adjacent to the White House that Blanche was the guy who was you rallying other people to go to Trump and to go to Susie and say, "Come on, man, she's embarrassing you. She's hurting you."
Right.
And
Right.
and, and her big performance that she gave in front of the committee, the Dow 50,000 performance,
That was great.
I was told that Blanche said to him, "That was embarrassing, that was over the top, she could have been more subtle, she could have handled it better, she could have really embarrassed them, that was amateur hour,"
Which is
and or
not
something or
wrong.
words to that effect.
Not wrong.
Not wrong, but
Yeah.
I think that the Knives Out thing in the Justice Department, you've also got now Alina Habba and Judge Boxawine and Lee Zeldin on the outside, all wanting that job.
Yeah.
Blanche Blanche, the arrogance of
Blanche
that
already
man,
has that job though,
right,
really.
the arrogance of Blanche, though, I think is gonna the uppance is coming, as they say, for Todd
Right.
Blanche, because he's now, as Thomas Massie said, "Thanks, glad you took the job, you now have 30 days to comply, because that's the
Right.
law."
Right.
And the other part of this is Bondi doesn't go away. Remember, the
Right.
committee issued the subpoena to her by name, not to her by title. She's
And
still
that's
gonna be
coming
up there
up in
testifying.
2 weeks. Yeah. I'm
Yep.
curious about I am very curious about Bondi though, because it does seem like I would be really surprised if Bondi comes out against Trump. I mean, do you think there's a world where that happens? That doesn't seem like the move to me.
It would be the most hilarious face turn ever.
Yeah.
I don't see it in the short term, but I will tell you, I know someone extremely close to Bondi, who I like a lifetime long friend of Pam Bondi, who
Who's
said the
not
shock,
Susie Weil.
not Susie Wiles, but the shock and embarrassment right now is through the roof.
Yeah.
And look, if you are Pam Bondi, you're gonna have one of 2 things. One is, and this happened a lot in the first administration, people will say to you, "Well, you've been fired, but, you could still come back, you could still
Right.
he forgives people." She's not coming back in the next 2 years. That's it.
Right.
This is over
No.
for her.
Right.
And so, she's gotta be thinking on one level, "I don't wanna cross the president, I don't wanna get Todd Blanche to pursue me," 'cause believe me, there is a world where the DOJ starts investigating Pam Bondi.
Oh yeah. I
But if she
mean,
does if
it's
she does if she plays ball, she's legally vulnerable and will never escape the families
right.
going after her, the congressional investigations that will last until she's dead.
I mean, I
But
think
if she
either
does
way,
turn,
she's legally vulnerable. Yeah, go on.
yeah, but if she does turn, Pam Bondi has a chance again to do something nobody else does around Trump. is to
Right.
just pull the fucking whole curtain back and go, "I'm sorry,
Yeah.
America.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
bought into it. I was part of the most corrupt cover up in history. Here's what I know from the Epstein files. Here's what we're hiding." Now,
Yeah.
I think the chance of her doing that is like
Yeah, I was
0.00001.
gonna say it seems very slim.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It would be very sort of Aaron Sorkin if she did it,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
But, you know, I have little faith in the moral courage of Pam Bondi at
Yeah, I
this
think
point.
that's a good move. But it is a really good question, right? The idea of what this sort of vulnerability here. And we saw this with Christy Nome, right? Like
Sure.
Christy Nome is never coming back. She has now gotten a fake job, the Shield of the Americas.
Right.
Court
Whatever that
her they
means.
l- whoever had those photos of the husband with the balloons in the shirt, those probably have been going around blackmailing people forever, right? I mean, there's no way that that's the first she learned of those photos.
Yeah,
Discuss.
I think somebody and it was probably either Joe Pounder or a guy like Joe Pounder, who's a big opposition research guy in the Republican Party, and they use Joe a lot.
Right.
He's one of their go-tos, I'm told. Probably had those pictures for a year. And look, when you see a guy that deep into whatever fetish thing he's into or whatever closeted behavior he's into, I can't even characterize the whole thing. That's not something that just sprang up 5 minutes ago. That's
Yeah,
probably a paraphilia that he's had for a very long time.
I wonder about that. Like, do you think that why that got released now? Do you have any insight on that? Did she not do something someone wanted? I mean, because clearly that had been around for a long time.
I think part of this might be trying to put a giant final spike into her as a credible political figure in any MAGA dimension. Look, you are now seeing the early going of the 2028 Republican primary. Okay, you got JD Vance with a new book about how Christian he is. You've got Marco being the jack of all trades and liberator of Cuba. You've got you've got all these guys in Congress starting to play, and Corey Lewandowski before the Great Fall was telling people she's going to do this immigration thing. That's what Republicans care about the most. That's going to put her in the front of the pack for 2028 to replace
Right.
Trump.
So
That
you
is
think
over.
that was just
And I think,
Oppo to prevent her
yeah,
from running?
I think it was just Oppo to stop her, to end her. And maybe a little bit of Oppo to say, we could tell more stories if you'd like,
Right. To
you know,
keep and also to
because
keep Corey in line.
well, look, Corey, I think they've turned on Corey pretty aggressively. We saw stories last week coming out about how Corey's now under an internal investigation at DHS. They don't investigate anybody at DHS internally unless they aggressively want to fuck them over.
Do
They
you think
stopped all that stuff until they decided that she and Corey had to go.
clearly that $220 million for the videos, like, that is sort of like a bridge too far. Do you think do you think, like, they will get charged with fraud? And do you because clearly, like, that, like, do you think that was a sort of a decision that that's what's coming next?
I think they will get charged. I think also there's a thing in government called a key tam lawsuit, which is where a
Right.
whistleblower can bring a lawsuit about government fraud and collect a percentage of it. Okay,
Oh,
so so
what an
uh, so a whistle
opportunity.
right. So some staffer or minion at some point got an email or was on a call or had a or s- and look, there's no way they spent $220 million without essentially a cap table of who's going to make money off of the deal.
Right, right.
And I promise you, Corey has some side deal that
Oh,
nobody
no
in this Trump
question.
world makes a damn dime unless the family gets some vig off of it.
Right. So this
So
could
I
end up
wouldn't be
being
shocked.
tied back to Trump too, though, right?
Or the Trump sons, or God
Right,
knows,
somebody.
or some other consultant around MAGA world who would then launder it to the Trumps. Uh,
Right, who
the
knows?
Byzantine nature of their corruption is why
Is
it's hard to figure it out.
and it's so funny, we've been doing this for I stumbled on a picture of us from 2018, Rick, I'm gonna send it to
Oh
you,
my god.
when we were
Do send it.
so young and our
So
lot
young and
we were
naive that it was
so
almost
young,
over.
and that this was I seem to remember many a piece written, "This is not who we are."
Oh,
But
this is who the fuck we are.
we turned America into Florida, and I'm glad to be able to narrate it with you. Rick
Likewise, my
Wilson,
friend.
will I see you next Sunday?
You sure will.